Am I the asshole for publicly posting a message from my brother's landlord? So I, 26 male, am a twin. My brother and I had a very rough childhood and it took a horrible toll on him. He ended up with really debilitating mental illness and has suffered from substance addiction since we were in our teens. I love my brother so much and have always done my very best to be there for him. But if any of you have had a loved one with these issues, you know how hard it can be. 2 weeks ago, he died of an overdose. It broke me, honestly. Despite everything, he was my best friend in the world, and I feel like a spare part without him. My brother lived by himself in a flat, which is where he died. I won't get too detailed, but it was a few days before he was found, so there was some cleanup required in the flat. I guess he was in rent errors too, because yesterday, 3 days after my brother's funeral, his landlord reached out to me via Messenger. He said, and I quote, "Hi, I'd once again like to tell you how sorry I am for your tragic loss. I cannot imagine how you feel having lost my brother's name. I know you were his only next of kin, so I'd just like to get the feelers out via VIS, a monetary issue. Your brother was quite behind on his rent, and he owed £1,500. With the cleanup I paid for following the incident, the total comes out to £1,550. As you're the sole inheritor of his estate, I'd like to negotiate with you how we're going to go about reimbursing this payment. I understand this is a large sum, so I am willing to work out a monthly plan if that works best for you." Honestly, I kind of flipped. My brother hasn't even been dead a month, hasn't even been in the ground for a week. I'm very much still grieving. I haven't even really processed that he's gone. I can't really believe that this guy thinks it's appropriate to start bugging me for money so soon. I went on a huge rant to my husband about it and ended up not responding to the message, but screenshotting it and posting it to Facebook. Several of my friends agreed that this guy was totally over the line. But he messaged me later absolutely furious that I was, quote unquote, trying to ruin his livelihood and, quote unquote, lambasting him for doing his job. We ended up having a bit of an argument where nothing really got resolved. Was I out of line here, or was I justified? Edit. Something I've realized was unclear. The cleanup LL paid for was not the biohazard cleanup. My husband and I paid for that. However, the landlord paid for an ordinary domestic cleaning service to come in afterwards and after my brother's stuff was collected. This is the cleaning cost he's referring to. Edit number 2. Something coming up a lot, so I'll put it here. This dude owns at least 5 properties currently and has been a landlord for at least 25 years, per his own website and social media. I highly doubt my brother is the first tenant death he has ever dealt with. Edit number 3. Adding this purely because people told me to, but in the subsequent messages, the LL called my husband racial slurs. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling my friend her parents bought her house and not her? The title sounds bad, but hear me out. Backstory. I, 28 female, have a friend, 28 female, who purchased a house late last year. It's an awesome 2-story townhouse, and I've been over there plenty of times to help with moving, decorating, and or just hanging out. As mentioned in the title, her parents purchased the house for her and her partner. I truly have no issue with this, as the housing market is terrible for buyers, so more power to them for being homeowners. I recently, unfortunately, inherited my parents' house, which is a 3-bedroom out in the sticks. The issue: we went appliance shopping because most of the stuff in the house was 10 to 15 years old. We were standing with an employee who I had asked to recommend some smaller items like toasters and kettles when the employees asked if I was moving out as a general chit-chat. I told him I was moving, and he asked whether I bought or rented. I told him bought because it was just easier and less awkward than telling him I inherited the house. He told me that was cool and began talking about the toasters again when my friend cut in that I had inherited my house, not purchased it. The employee went quiet and I gave her a "what was that" face. I was taken aback. She continued on saying, "Yeah, I purchased my house." I asked, "Does it really matter? I'm here to buy some kitchen appliances, not tell this guy my personal issues." She grinned and said, "It's just for the record," which made me more confused and annoyed. You can probably see where this is going. I replied, "Oh, okay, then if it's just for the record, your parents purchased your house for you." The employee quickly retreated as she walked outside of the shop. I caught up with her and she said I was a massive asshole for pointing out she couldn't afford to own without her parents' help. I returned with a very similar, "My parents also helped me with getting a house too, just in a really terrible way." My partner agrees with me, saying that she's the one that opened that door, but our other friends split it almost 50-50. So, was I the asshole? Am I the asshole for telling the truth in the wedding toast? I'm a 30-year-old male and my best friend got married last week. I just bought a house and my wife is expecting our son in November, so I let him know that I was limited in what I can contribute financially, but I did tell him that I would try my best. So I went to the bachelor party in Maine, I rented the tux and paid for mine and my wife's dinner at the rehearsal dinner. I also had a gift card of $300 that I was going to give them, but we will get to why I didn't give it to them. His now wife, then fiance, texted me multiple times a day with updates. Fine, I didn't always respond, and it got to the point where if I didn't respond at least once a day, I'd get a call from my buddy. I have a full-time job and I'm redoing some rooms in my house, so I am busy. She texted me for the following reasons. 1, my wife was not allowed to talk about our pregnancy at all. She didn't want anyone to focus on that more than her, the bride. 2, she was not going to order special food for my wife. No one asked her to. My wife was fine with whatever she was going to be served. 3, I was not helping the groom enough. He had to help her with favors, seating chairs, and programs. So I had to help him with those things, according to her. She also said to get ready to help with thank you notes after the wedding. 4, she said if I was a true best man, I would offer to pay for the bar bill. I don't even know what that means. 5, she had to approve my speech before the rehearsal dinner and wanted to be included as much as my buddy. She told me to make up things if I had to. I was also not allowed to include anyone but the two of them, and no inside jokes or stories about my buddy that did not include her. 6, her last text said to my wife to keep it together and not make a pregnancy scene during the wedding. Also, she wanted her to choose a dress that downplayed her pregnancy as much as possible. I was just so aggravated. I spoke to my friend to see if he could reason with her. He told me to just play the ball on this one. It's her day, and to cut him a break, because he'd been dealing with her nonsense for the rest of his life. I was annoyed, but I did calm down. The day of, all the bride and my buddy did is scold me. berate me and bark orders. I head down to the bar for a drink. The bride's mother is there and warns me not to get drunk because I've ruined her daughter's day enough. That was my final straw. I didn't give them the card with the cash, and in the speech, I used my friend's exact wording about him having to deal with her nonsense for the rest of his life. I wished them the best and told them I would always be there for them, especially during the divorce. Am I the asshole?